So I'm painting something I've never painted before, at least not up close. Blocked it in, started putting a little bit of detail in, but I'm now going to start working on this old bird here. So as you can see, let me zoom in. So I've started putting the detail. I think I'll just focus. Started putting the detail in the twig that the bird's sitting on. The bird at the moment is just in a blocked in state, so no real detail on that. The background is not quite finished yet. I might need to just polish up on that a little bit, but I won't do that until I've got the bird finished. So I'll show you now the photograph of the bird. And that's how detailed we want to get it. It's only small, the picture that I'm working on here, it's 10 by 10 inches, but I'm going to film it now and show you how I'm going to do it. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is just gently darken what I've already done, and I'm going to do that with a glaze of Winsor & Newton Liquid Original and a little bit of ivory black, a bit of burnt umber, and some ultramarine, French ultramarine. Just a general darken. And I'm using Rosemary & Co. Series 32. It's a tree and texture series brush actually, but I guess any brush would work fine. I'm going to go over pretty much the whole bird, and I'm probably not even going to change the colour, just going to go over the whole thing with this darker colour. But let's start working on this beak and the head now. We're going to use a rigger brush in order to get that really nice and sharp, and also probably the Rosemary & Co. Sable Blend Series 401, size 1, nice detailed brush, and of course the Series 771, my favourite brush, size 1, the rigger brush. Now, building up once again with the rigger brush, I'm going to continue to put in some of these darker areas, and in particular you can see them around the edge of the beak here and just below. And what I'm going to do is I'm using very thinned down ivory black and burnt umber, and I'm just going to put in the smallest little lines. Now the thinner the paint, the tighter those lines are going to be. And all I'm going to do is just be very observant as to where these lines are on the bird and what direction they move as well. And then once we've put these lines in, we can then go on to put in some of the lighter areas of feather. So pretty much all I've been doing the whole time, and in particular just working on these feathers, is I've just used the rigger brush the whole time, because those feathers are just made up of loads and loads of very skinny lines. I mean, they're really small, and all I'm doing is just using the very tip of that brush, like I would if I was painting a branch or grass or anything like that. I'm just putting in those tiny little lines, and I'm trying to do it, I'm following the contours of the bird, but they're not always like that. For example, under here there's almost like a cross hatching to the lines, and then of course the only other thing I need to do is just make sure that the colours are right, and that I would say is probably the most difficult thing to do with this painting. Trying to get the subtlety of those colours excuse me, and also trying to get it luminous enough. For example, the orange around the robin's chest there is really, really vibrant and very, very warm. And I haven't been able to quite get that right. So I've thickened up ever so slightly to try and get a little bit more punch. And then I think once I've finished the bird, I'll come back and go over it with a glaze, and maybe just a slightly more warmer oranger colour, just to pull it out a little bit more. But let's get going on this, the back of the bird here. Now, I'm trying to, also I think it's worth mentioning that I'm really thinning the paint down. So imagine the paint is like an ink consistency, and I'm almost trying to do it as if I am using a fountain type pen to try and get these skinny lines. I'm using the brush more like a pen really than a brush. So as you can see, I'm just trying to keep these lines, just using the very, very tip of the brush, just trying to keep them as small as I can, as thin as I can. I'm also not trying to do very long brush marks. I think there are certain areas, like around where the back joins the wing, where those lines are perhaps a little bit longer.